Hey, what's up, you guys? So tonight I just realized that for some reason yesterday there was a backlash against Justin Bieber over something he said because it's April 1st and in the States at least. And I believe some other places in the world you have this thing called April Fools, and basically April Fools is where you, in case you don't know, you pretty much go around making jokes. Like you trick people into believing something that's not actually true. So basically it's a form of, I guess, very, very, very moderated trolling, just to describe it in some crazy way. Well, I just discovered that for some reason everyone was giving Justin Bieber a hard time over a joke that he posted on one of his social media accounts, and it had to do the with the old, very classic joke of you post, in this case, and sets online, you're posting about a pregnancy that's actually not taking place. So he was saying that his wife is already expecting their first child when this is not really true. And then in real life, what usually happens is you go around telling people, hey, I'm expecting, or hey, I'm about to become a father. And nobody ever gets offended by that. At least in my experience being alive, and I have heard that joke being used, nobody has ever been upset about that. Quite the contrary. People usually, at first, if they're not aware of the calendar, they go like, oh, for real, congratulations, this and that. And then you go, psych. It turns out that it's actually a joke, happy April Fool's Day or something. And then, everyone is like, oh, you tricked me. Oh, I believed it. Oh, let's move on with our lives, right? Well, for some reason, online, Justin Bieber did the very same thing. He was saying the very same old joke about saying that someone is pregnant when they really aren't. And then I'm like, okay, it's a joke that I personally never really find funny. But just because I don't find that funny doesn't mean that I'm offended by it. It's just that that's not my kind of humor. And because I know that it's a joke that is used frequently, and I have personally been on the receiving and giving end of that, it's like for me it lost its impact. But to me, when it comes to Justin Bieber, I think that he is giving a hard time, particularly because A, he's a guy, B, he's an incredibly famous person. Whether he's still relevant or no, that's beside the point. But he's popular. You say the name Justin Bieber, and more than likely, you know who it is. And also, when a person is in that position of power, it's very easy to create a trend when it comes to them. Even fucking CNN was talking about it. So clearly you know that this person is very influential. Some people just hope that they can gain something out of generating a controversy surrounding a person. But the first thing that I noticed was that I don't know if I'm good at judging people and how old they are by just a picture, especially online. You just never know what kind of picture people are using. But a lot of these people who were outraged were young. And if they were not young, they were older folks who tend to be on the liberal side of things. And what I mean by that is that you're trying to be morally correct, but that doesn't mean that you are onto something. It doesn't mean that you always have a case and that you're right at whatever it is that you're doing. Like, it doesn't make you a bad person, but I think that what's bad is that you take things so seriously nowadays that you forget to live life and have fun and just let stuff go. I don't see why this is a problem. And basically, that the thing that made me want to do the stream is when I read the description of the issue, which was it was insensitive toward people who cannot conceive. The way I interpret that is, if I say to you guys as my April Fool's joke, hey guys, I'm getting married. Like, and then later I say I'm not getting married, someone out there is going to say, Zam, how fucking dare you? There is a lot of people out there who are suffering from depression and are lonely because they cannot find a soulmate. They cannot find anybody. They want to date someone, but no one asked them out. Or they cannot find someone to date, or this and that. How fucking dare you? You're being insensitive. You know what I mean? Are you guys going to have beef because of that? Like, seriously? Are you guys going to be upset about that? Are you offended that I am over here pretending to have something to celebrate, which is my engagement, and then I flip it and say, you know what, I'm lying. I'm not getting married at all. So, and then what's your reaction going to be? Are you going to do what normal people do, which is the healthy thing to do, is you just keep going with your life, or you say, you know what, I believed it for a second. I was getting ready to congratulate you, but it turns out that it's not time yet. Well, you got me there. Haha, move on. But no, for some reason, you want to turn everything into an issue to get attention. So many ways that you can get attention, so many ways that you can contribute genuinely to society. But you're trying to say that this is more urgent and more important, and that's where you focus your energy on. I cannot be that way. I cannot agree with you. If I were someone who were to discover that I'm having trouble conceiving, first of all, I'm not ready for kids. So to me, I'm going to take that as good news. But just because for me is something that I see as it doesn't affect me because I'm neither pro nor against the idea of having kids. Like, just because I don't get offended by it, I don't expect you to not get offended by that. But if you do get offended by it, please know how to handle your emotions. That's the issue I'm having. If you feel like that comment is actually disrespectful and very like insensitive, I guess for me, as someone who's not offended by it, it's difficult for me to see why you're upset because I don't think it's something that's serious. Like, jokes are made all the time. But for some reason, you're telling me that you cannot handle this one because, of course, the women in the community always have it worse. Women always have the worst issues. And the issue was presented as couples who are having trouble conceiving, but you know that deep down this has to be a feminine issue. Like, women get depressed and sad because miscarriages and trouble conceiving. I don't want to dismiss the difficulty and the mental, emotional, and even physical toll that it must take on you, that you're trying to become a parent but you cannot do it, and this is something that you dream about and you really want to go for it, right? But what I am saying is that if you're part of that community, I would love to really hear from you what you have to say, because I feel like the person who initiated the fact that this is disrespectful to the people who are having trouble conceiving because it's 2009. I'm like, first of all, if it's not a problem that you have, why are you trying to give a voice to those who don't even feel like that's their problem? They don't even feel the people who are infertile. Not everyone who is infertile or whatever issue it is that they have that makes it difficult for them to conceive, I bet you they're not the ones talking about that. They're not the ones who are expressing disgust at what this Justin Bieber guy said. So I think it's all in your head. You somehow found a way to see an issue where there isn't any. In the years that that joke has been made, I have never ever heard someone say that that is insensitive to people who are having trouble conceiving or have gone through miscarriages. Miscarriages and trouble conceiving is just a different animal when it comes to what Justin Bieber was trying to do here. Like, it went as far as there being a trend called hashtag pregnancy is not a joke or something. Who said that pregnancy is a joke? Like, you can make jokes about it, but he's not. saying a joke about, haha, people who are infertile or people who are having trouble conceiving, sucks to be you because my girlfriend is pregnant or my wife is pregnant. And then he flips it and says, psych, turns out my wife is not really pregnant, but I got you all. Where did you see the offense in that? It's not like he was attacking people who cannot conceive or people who are infertile or whatever the hell. That's the issue I'm finding with this. Like, how old are you to where you feel like this is offending someone or this is meant to offend someone? I just do not get it. But but anyways, I thought that I would bring my own personal example up. I have said that before where, hey, guess what? I'm pregnant and it turns out that I was having a really terrible bloated day and I'm like, look at me. I'm going to use my bloatness as I'm being pregnant, because physically I'm not used to looking like that. But but also when I used the joke about being engaged, it's either I say that I'm pregnant or I say that I'm engaged. It's always one of the two. And guess what? No one, absolutely no one, has ever told me, Zamara, that's a very insensitive joke. You know why? Because at least the individuals in my personal circle who I use this joke on, they get it. They have been participants in it themselves. But I feel like the up and coming new generation just has very, like, sensitive fibers. And like, at this point, that's where I want to say your sensitivity is getting you in trouble. Your sensitivity is making you miserable. And if it's making you miserable, I think it's time that you took control over that, became accountable for your emotions, and realized that you being hypersensitive is not doing any favors to you. So you may want to consider somehow addressing that, because you cannot expect for the rest of the world that is not finding issues with the stuff that you're finding issues to accommodate you or to change the entirety of the course of humanity just so that you can fit into it. What you need to do is somehow become emotionally and mentally prepared to deal with this stuff. It's like it's like I was telling a friend of mine, you know what? I bet you that when you're investigating a very awful scene, like particularly plane crashes, usually I'm pretty sure that whoever's in charge of those investigations says to any volunteers or anybody involved, they're like, you're going to find human remains. It's going to smell very awful. You're going to smell human being burnt. You're going to smell this kind of, jet fuel and vegetation and all of this. It's going to be a horrible sight, horrible smell. Your senses are going to be bombarded. But guess what? Get over it, deal with it. I cannot tell you how, but get the job done. Do you think that these people have time to be like, oh, I'm oversensitive about seeing a dead body? So, nothing would get done if we all if we all rested on our emotions, nothing would get done in this planet. Like if we were oversensitive. So those are some of the points that I would like to explore. To me, it seemed like the people finding problems with this were typically very young, or for some reason, we're just looking for a new way to present women, for example, as being a group that's at a disadvantage. Because when it comes to pregnancy, miscarriages, and all that, because women are supposed to be the bearers of life, for some reason, these issues have to affect women worse than anybody else, right? So that's just my personal view, my personal take, my personal opinion. You guys can either agree or disagree, like always. It's not going to change the way I see things because I'm pretty dead set on this one. But I'm going to catch up with the comments now because I'm done venting and rambling and ranting. Bieber is a real one. Hey, beautiful. It's so refreshing to see your face. How was your day today? Hello, Ninja. Good to see you. And as you can probably hear and see, I would describe myself as being 95% recovered from the stuff that, was messing me up. And today it was a good day. Some challenges here and there as usual, but life was more good than not. And I'm so glad to see you, and I'm glad to see that you're glad to see me. People feel entitled to celebrities' lives. Shout out to Bieber. You know what? That's very true. The fact that this person is a public figure, it's a curse a lot of the time because you're being pursued, you're being sought after, every second about you, every second that you're out in the public light, it's like someone is out there recording you. Someone is out there writing about you, reporting about you, talking about you. And some of it is true and some of it is not. Some of it is speculation. Some of it is trying to attribute stuff to you that doesn't even correspond to you. It's just crazy. I personally would not like to be in his shoes because it's a lot of pressure coming from all sorts of directions. And he's been in the business for, like a decade now. So this is going to catch up to him. And it definitely has, like he has had his breakdowns, and I'm not going to justify everything that he has done because I'm sure that some of it was he let the fumes go to his brain. But sometimes when famous people do crazy things, I sort of understand them. It's like you're frustrated, you're immensely stressed. Money does not magically just solve all of your problems. It definitely makes your life more comfortable and resolves problems, but it doesn't mean that you're immune to the effects of societal pressures. So finding that balance is definitely the most challenging aspect, especially when you being a celebrity means you're someone who's celebrated, someone who's worshipped, and social media makes it very easy for people to have just access to you and your business and all that. So it's like if you don't want to feel the effects of it, be completely detached from it. But even if you're a famous person who does not have a social media account, people are still going to talk about you, and someone is going to inform you that something that you did has upset the masses. So it's not like you can escape it altogether. But for me personally, I know what I have in my soul. I know what my intentions are. I can explain it. People are going to believe it. Some people are not. Some people are still going to be offended. Some people are going to get it and be with me. It's like as long as you live your life understanding that not everyone is going to, for some reason, respect you and tolerate you and love you and understand you, it'll become a whole lot easier to bear. It won't be like you will be immune to the toll. You'll still suffer the consequences of the pressure and the stress, but as long as you understand that it's okay for you to not be satisfying everybody or making everybody happy, I believe you'll be able to deal with this a little better. Because for me, for the longest time, I used to care a little too much about what everybody's individual perception of me was. And I understood that no matter how righteous I think I am, no matter how many good decisions I think I'm making, no matter how well I think I'm behaving, someone out there is going to have a problem with me. Doesn't matter what it is about, whether it's relevant or irrelevant. Someone's going to have an issue with mine, like the way I say things, the way I do things, the way I present something, the way I dress, the way I look, the way I sound. Like someone in the comments told me that my voice is annoying and that I'm a fucking idiot. Do you think that hurt me in any way? Hell no. I'm honored that this person spent the time to be in my channel and also leave me a comment, because to me that gives me a sense of priority. It's like, you know what? I impressed this person so much to the point that they had to leave me a comment trying to upset me, but I know that they're trying to get my attention because I'm already important in their lives. But I know better than that. Sometimes I'm like, you know what? I can feed into it. I'm a troll myself, so I could, maybe get in a back and forth with them and start messing around. But I looked at that person's picture and it looked like a person who's not older than 17. I am, pretty like beyond 17. I don't need to be getting in a back and forth with a child. All right? So that's what I prefer to do. I pick my battles wisely and I only get involved if something beneficial can come out of it. But my perception is not just going to change because one individual was offended. It's like, okay, I can try to understand why you're offended, but I possess the opinion and views that I have for a reason. It's because it works for me. But if you cannot adjust to me, that's fine. Just go away. The planet is pretty like wide. There's a lot of space. You don't have to be inhabiting the same space that I'm in. You don't have to be breathing the same air that I'm breathing. But anyways, in conclusion, I'm just someone who sees the solution, and if it's something that's really not going to affect me, like 5 hours from now, I let it go. I just let it go. Let's see. Where am I at? I don't feel entitled to celebrities' lives. I don't know those people. I would just say, you can marry me, Sam. I wouldn't get upset at something small as that. Yeah, people are stupid, man. Shout out to Bieber. I agree. My ninja, they are losing it, man. I don't get them. I just walk away from these crazy people. Yo, hello, Alice. The new generation doesn't know how to control their emotions. They're followers mostly and think they know everything. Yeah, isn't that crazy? Like, immediately, one example that I can think of is the vegan community. And the reason I'll mention this is because I remember it super fresh. Like, I feel like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, it's when veganism was becoming the trend and popular and everyone was getting on board with it. Well, a lot of these people, for some reason, are beginning to report that they're getting sick. And the reason is very simple. Is because they have been depriving their body of important minerals and nutrients, and if your body is missing stuff, it ain't gonna function like you want it to or like it's supposed to. So now a lot of hardcore vegans are saying that they're quitting veganism because they're having to eat certain animal products so that they can feel better. And they report that within a very short period of time from introducing those animal products back into their diet, they're feeling a whole lot better. So the reason I bring that up is because these people thought that they were onto something. They thought they had the solution to the world's problems. It's like, I'm having a plant based diet. I'm not using clothing that has animal byproducts. I'm not using shampoos or soaps or conditioners, anything that whatever products we use. I'm not even going to dwell on that or think critically on it. Whatever products we use that are made from animal product, even honey or beeswax and stuff like that. It's like, you thought that you were being this morally correct, righteous person, but then you were actually slowly killing yourself. You need to understand that you are a part of this planet and you interact with everything one way or another. And just because you don't agree with the way that we interact with some things to ensure our survival doesn't make it wrong. All right. It's like, I love animals. I love them a lot, but I'm going to continue to eat them. I understand that they are vital for my development and for my body to keep functioning the way it needs to. Like, sometimes I do think about how food got to my plate, and I'm like, you know what, a little cow, little whatever, I wish that I could survive off rocks, but we live as an ecosystem for a reason, which is, we as members of society, we have a role. Animals have their roles. We have our roles. Plants have their roles. But to think critically on veganism, it's like, is it really that good? Because if you're focusing on using plant products, aren't we concerned about, say, rainforests getting chopped down? Where do these plant products come from? So at some point, you're going to be over exploiting this source of food, like eating berries and stuff. At some point, if the entire human race decided to go on a berry based diet, primarily berries and seeds and nuts and all that stuff, is there enough in the world to sustain that? And someone out there is going to suffer. Someone out there is going to get starved. Do you not feel offended by that? Do you not think that that's egotistical of you to like think that you gotta influence the masses into having your dietary preferences? Like, you might have a good intention about saving the world, you're concerned about resources and like animals and whatnot, but you're not solving anything. All you're doing is hurting yourself. And you only realize that you're killing yourself when your body starts shutting down on you. So so that's the reason I bring that up. It's like people who think that they are on the morally right side of the moral spectrum, you're missing something somewhere. Like, I like to think that I personally try to make decisions and be the best person that I can, but I know that no matter what, some opinions that I have are terrible. And some things that I do, or the way that I consider going about my day, it might be a really bad thing. Sometimes I take a shower that lasts 40 minutes. I'm pretty sure that I'm wasting a lot of water there, but am I going to give myself hell over it? No, I'm just a diva when it comes to my personal cleansing. But am I directly harming someone by doing that? No, the resource is available for me. So why would I want to depress myself over that? I worked for that. I worked hard to be able to afford to live here, to have utilities in my house. I feel entitled to it. I'm getting my part done, which is contribute to make sure that that resource can be kept clean for our use. See what I mean? So the reason I mentioned that is because if I were to feel bad about everything that I do that can harm the environment or impact other people, I cannot be miserable. I refuse to be miserable. If the resource is available for my consumption and I definitely earned it through my hard work, I'm going to fucking use it. So so anyways, I thought I would just throw that out there so that you guys see how I can sort of link everything or mention random things and just make a point. Let's see, where am I at? Sup, my ninja? What up? Do not what? Justin Bieber joked about a plane crash or something. No, he joked about his wife being pregnant. It turned out to be false. And then people were offended because apparently that is insensitive to the people who cannot conceive or are infertile or have had miscarriages. Screw that person that didn't like your voice. Would have been funny if she did get into a back and forth with a child, though. Am I hearing loud gunshots right now? He probably would have went back and cried to his parents trying to sue for emotional damages. Lol. I'm not exactly sure what the topic is about right now. I'll play back later. Pork chops. JB man made a joke and people took it personally. Ellis Jackson, a joke about what? We could make more berry farms, though. Screw the masses. I think it was pregnancy, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, you're right. True, true. Right side of the story. Sorry, right side of history. 40 mom showers. Nice. Like, it's usually on the weekends. Sometimes I have a day in which I have to wash my hair, shave, and of course, do the rest of a regular shower. My regular shower, where I don't have to do extra stuff, it usually lasts between 10 to 12 minutes. But if I have to do exfoliation and washing my hair and shaving and all that, that's what adds extra 10 minutes to my showers. So usually the longest shower that I take is usually on Sundays or Saturdays, the weekend, and it's usually like 40 minutes long. But if I go swimming, for example, I'm exposing myself to that freaking chloride. So it might take me a little longer than normal to do an average shower, which would be just washing my hair and then cleansing the rest of my body, like normal. That shower usually takes me between 20 to 25 minutes. And now that my hair is super long, it is adding a couple of extra minutes to my routine. But I mean, it's not like that 40 minutes is what I'm spending on the shower every single day. Like, I don't think I can handle that. If we gotta go somewhere, I can be ready in 10 minutes. But, but when it comes to showers, if I have to postpone activities that might require for me to take a day to take a really epic shower, and that would be the 40-minute one. But sometimes if I have time and I'm not too overwhelmed, I try to keep everything as not out of control as possible. What I mean by that is I'm not going to let my my hair legs to be like bushy before I start shaving it. It's like I try to keep it trim and smooth as much as possible by using the razor every 2 days, but sometimes I don't have time to that for that. I'll admit it. Or sometimes I don't even have the shaving cream with me. Any number of things can happen. So if I can skip shaving, then that's a lot of time that I'm saving. Because unfortunately for me, my hair grows in all kinds of directions. So when I'm shaving my leg, like I have to go in the opposite direction of hair growth, and I also have to go sideways, and I also have to go this way. Because if I don't, then it has like a stubbly feel to it. And when I shave in that opposite direction, it takes care of that feeling to where it's smooth. And I have noticed it. Ever since I was a kid, I noticed that my hair, for some reason, on some parts just grew sideways. And I'm like, what in the hell? So what I do is I start like from downward up, or sorry, from bottom to top, and then I go sideways. So that is something that runs on my father's side of the family, apparently, because one of my aunts, I told her about it one time, and she said, "Oh, I do that too." And I'm like, "Yes!" I thought that I had something wrong with me. But, anyways, God, it's so challenging for me to stream at nighttime for some reason. It's like I normally have trouble putting a sentence together, but at nighttime it's even worse. But, anyways, what's life without a little bit of challenge? Zamra, you should really let me take you out to dinner, beautiful. I'll consider it. Do you give yourself a landing strip? Let my butt up, you crazy man. You guys are on a roll right now. Well, guys, it's been a pleasure, but I am going to wrap it up right here because your girl has to do a schoolgirl shift. In other words, an 8 o'clock until 3. And I am really trying to have a decent breakfast in the morning because after I get off work, I got some stuff that I got to do, and I'm not sure how good I'll be able to eat. So I just want to have breakfast. I usually don't make breakfast. I just do not have the time. I try to get as much sleep as I can these days. But anyways, just know that I'm around, and even if I don't make it to streaming on a particular day, it doesn't mean that I wasn't thinking about it. But yeah, sometimes I don't want to start a stream unless I can get my mind together. Like sometimes my mind can go really blank, and I don't want to be here just struggling with what I'm saying, which it happens nowadays. So, unless I have something substantial to say, then I try to avoid it. But, anyways, schoolgirl shift, perfect, good night. Well, if you wonder how I break it down, 9 to 5 is the banker shift. 7 to 3 is the teacher. No, I'm sorry. 7 to, yeah. Yeah, 7 to 3 is the teacher shift. 8 until 3 is the schoolgirl shift. 6:30 how long does this last? 2:30 is usually the trucker shift. 11 to 7 is definitely the violated shift, because let me tell you, that is a violation of my existence as a human. 11 to 7, what can I do? I cannot really do anything too crazy in the morning because I don't get up mad early. And on top of that, my time is going to be taken up by cooking breakfast, taking a shower, cleaning the kitchen, and then driving to work. So there's nothing I can do with my morning. And then after 7 o'clock, which usually to completely desert my work area, is usually an extra 30 minutes that I gotta add to my exit time. So at 7:30 p.m., what the hell is there to do? Like not much. So anytime I get a mid shift, I just fortunately they don't happen often, so I don't really complain, but I definitely feel it mentally and physically. And then what else do we have? Well, I don't work nights particularly anymore, but I used to do 1 o'clock until freaking 9, and I never had a name for that. What name should I give that? Um, Not a fisherman shift. I don't think that's an appropriate name for it. But yeah, you guys helped me with that one. I never had a name or a title for a 1 to 9 o'clock. Um, Another shift that occasionally was given to me was a 2 to 10. But what happens between 2 to 10? What's a career involving 2 to 10? Butchers? Nah, I don't think. I don't think so. The butcher is usually there like at 5 o'clock. Anyways, you guys, if you guys think of something funny or neat to associate with that shift, let me know in the